Hello, I'm Sam from Jessup Says. The focus of my channel is to share and educate on how to buy less, buy better. It's not necessarily about buying less things, it's about buying something that fits its purpose perfectly and serves you for as long as possible. Here it is, the one we've all been waiting for. It's finally time to update you all on the Crown Northampton Harlestone hand stitch derby in off-white tan veg calf leather. This shoe has been with me for about a year now, and I think I've worn them enough times in enough different ways and in enough different environments to finally be able to share with you all an update on the sneakers. As this seems to have been a hotly talked about sneaker and a hotly talked about brand, I have a lot of people down in the comments of the last video wondering about how they're holding up, if they're really worth investing in. Well, I think I'm starting to get to a place where I can finally answer that question for you all. Though really, the true answer will be in another 2 or 3 years or more than that, when they're really beaten up, and then I can compare them to something else, like another sneaker that I've worn for a comparable time, and see how they really do hold up over that longer time. Anyway, without further ado, let's get into the video. Because it's been a little while since that original video and my video style has thankfully developed a little bit since then, I thought it would be wise to recap all of the details of the shoe that I originally received. The description on their website is actually insanely long, so I thought it best to summarize it, and this is what I have come up with. The Hand Stitch collection by Crown Northampton is a luxurious range of handmade sneakers that draw inspiration from traditional, bespoke, hand-welted dress shoes. The off-white veg tan calf leather exterior, hand finished construction, and cork filling provides superior comfort, stability, and breathability throughout the sneaker. The traditional oak bark leather counter and stiffener, natural veg tan crust shoulder for the insole, soft leather lining, French bound stitching, and hand stitched sign-off details add intricate details to the Harlestone Derby, a member of the Hand Stitch collection. The ultimate handmade dress sneaker, Crown Northampton's Hand Stitch collection blurs the line between high-end casual sneakers and a traditional dress shoe, providing a solid and reliable structure that offers superior strength and longevity whilst also being handmade in England. A bit of a mouthful, but I think you get the point. The details then, the style is the Harlestone Hand Stitch Derby. The color is off-white veg tan calf leather, and they are made in Northampton, UK. The materials are described as the finest veg tan calf leather. There is an oak bark counter and stiffener. The footbed is filled with cork by hand, and the sole is a Lacte Havea sole. The construction is a derby construction with French binding around the seams. The fit is a UK size 7, which is 26.2 centimeters long, and the cost is 350 Great British pounds, which is around about 615 Australian dollars. Definitely not cheap for a sneaker. So as usual, the fit is the most important part of this journey. Yes, we want it to last a long time, but is it going to be comfortable for those long days, for traveling and for airport? It's probably the question I got asked most, and it makes sense because most people want a nice white leather sneaker, especially one that's described as, closer to a dress shoe, that they can wear all day, from airports to meetings, out to dinner, and then who knows? They're intended to be worn for a long time and to be extremely comfortable. More comfortable than a derby shoe that they're intended to be replacing, and more formal than something like a runner style shoe that you might need to wear if you're doing lots of miles or kilometers. Now, fit and comfort are two things that I want to address separately, starting with the fit. And the fit is actually really, really good. They feel a little bit like what I imagine those bare feet shoes feel like on the foot, as in they follow the shape of my foot very, very well, but they also feel very, very flat, like there's no drop. And the pressure of the foot, as in like where you feel like you're standing, feels like you're definitely standing on the balls of your feet and not on your heels. Hopefully that makes sense. They're really nicely fitted around the heel cup, and although completely flat, the design cups the foot nicely around the arches and all the sort of external areas of the feet on both feet. The toe box is fairly wide, but not super wide. It perfectly accommodates my foot, which is a fairly wide foot. But if you had a particularly wide foot, then this last might not work for you. I had a look at their standard range, the non-hand stitch versions, and they seem to look like they have a much wider toe box, but I can't actually be sure of that. Maybe worth investigating if you do have a wider foot. My toes do have plenty of room, but the toe box, although it looks sort of round and somewhat tall, is actually still touching the top of my big toe, so there's not a lot of space there. From my view, this is sort of what I would define as a very good fit. It's also 0.5 of a size up from my typical UK dress shoe size, so take that into account when you're ordering for yourself. But overall, the fit is very, very good, and I'm very, very impressed. But what about the comfort? Now, the comfort of this pair has been a bit of a letdown. It's one of the reasons why I sort of delayed this review so long, but the reasons why they're sort of not that comfortable completely make sense. The shoe is made entirely of leather. Now, I mean that in the best possible way, but what it does mean is that for a sneaker, which you usually expect things like this, there is no padding in the shoe anywhere, which is very unusual for a sneaker. And compared to something like my Koyo, which is sort of a common project-like shoe, they have padding around the collar and sometimes around the tongue and around where the ankle is. And that provides a lot of comfort when you're wearing your shoe. This means that when I wear my Crown Northamptons without socks, they tend to rub a lot. This means they rub around my ankle, around my heel, and a little bit on my pinky toe, but particularly around the ankles and the heels, because it's literally just that French binding against my foot. There's no padding. Literally, there's no padding. And this leaves me with blisters. But because I really like wearing these with no-show socks or no socks at all, it's not really possible to wear them without getting blisters. Hopefully this will change with time as they continue to break in, but for now I basically just have to wear them with socks and a few plasters on my feet to hope that they just continue to break in and the leather continues to break in over time. And talking of leather, because this shoe is about the leather, let's talk about patina. One of the most interesting and probably eagerly anticipated elements of the shoe is the off-white veg tan calf leather. Now, I didn't clean the shoes at all before the footage that I'm showing you right now, but the leather did recently receive a bit of Saphir natural cream, which was a few weeks ago because they were looking a little bit dry, but that's all I've done. I wanted to show you the true condition of these shoes and what they really look like after a year of wear. I think it should be noted that the shoes and the soles on the shoes that look pretty black and pretty gross, they do clean up really easily with a cloth and a bit of water. So if you want the edges to be nice and clean, it's not that big a deal to get it done. Now the leather is clearly sensational, as are all the materials that make up the shoe. They really are incredibly high quality materials. And you can see right now the patina that has changed from a whitey beige to a more darky beige color, maybe with a bit more brown in it. It's hard to explain exactly, but it's a really nice color and it's a little bit more natural than a white sneaker would be, which makes them really, really easy to wear. White can be a bit hard to pair sometimes. The tone of like a more natural color like a beige makes it very simple and easy to pair with pretty much every color, but we'll talk about that later on. Overall, I'm really impressed so far with the patina and the color that this leather is adapting to. The other material that really matters in this review is the sole material, the Lacte Havea sole, which I am comparing to the gold standard of cub soles, which is made by Margam, and that was the one that was originally on my Koyo Capris. Now, the Lacte Havea sole feels really soft and sort of spongy under the foot, and it's responsible for, I would say, most of the initial comfort of the shoe under the foot, or it's meant to be responsible for it, until the leather and the cork break in, which it is pretty comfortable. The wear on them is fairly minute, but if you look really, really closely, I can see a little bit of wear pattern, which is directly under the ball of my feet. Now, you may remember that I recently said that these shoes feel a bit flat and that they feel like you're standing on the ball of your feet, and well, that seems to line up with where they are wearing, so that's pretty good, I suppose. I'm not really sure how durable these are going to be in the long term, and they're going to be as durable as a Margam sole, as I've not got to the stage where I can make that assessment yet. Again, in another couple of years, I should be able to have a bit more of a definitive answer as to how this sole is holding up. But for now, I'm going to say that they're not out of the running, and I'm actually genuinely surprised with how they're lasting, just because they feel so soft and they seem to be lasting well. As for the construction, there isn't much to add here. I can say that they're holding up really, really well, and so far there have been no concerns as to the craft or the construction here. It is and remains top class, so definitely not a letdown. The Harlestone hand-stitched derby in off-white tan veg calf leather is an extremely versatile sneaker that can be dressed up or down, as they describe it. Its sleek and refined design makes it perfect for pairing with tailored trousers or chinos for a smart casual look. The classic natural beige color of the sneakers is easy to pair with a wide range of colors, from navy, beige, gray, black, green, you name it, they go really well. They really do work for all your businessy and businessy adjacent needs, as well as your casual needs. For that more casual look, the Harlestone derby pairs well with a pair of jeans or shorts, with a white t-shirt of course, and your normal suspects like a rugby or an OCBD or knitwear or any outerwear will pair absolutely fantastically here, because after all it is sort of a natural white sneaker. Finally, before we finish the review, I wanted to add another final comment here about airports and travel, because I think you can probably guess how I feel about using them in that context. If you wear them with a pair of high socks to protect your ankles, then they're absolutely light and aesthetic and great enough to be an airport shoe. As for comfort, well, without any padding and the shoe being very flat, you have to sort of enjoy being in a very flat position and standing very flat. For me personally, I've used them quite a few times through airports and they haven't been bad on my feet, but my feet have felt quite sore from the flatness after a sort of really long flight, which pretty much every flight is a really long flight because I live in Australia. I actually prefer to wear my Alden LHS loafers on flights because they're just a slipper that I can wear in public, and the slight heel makes it a little bit more comfortable for me over time. But this is a point that I'm going to follow up on in the future. I'm going to try and wear the shoes on flights again and see how they fare and see how I feel about them as they continue to break in and develop over time. These sneakers are a luxurious and unique sneaker that blur the line between a high-end casual sneaker and a traditional dress shoe. While the fit is good, the lack of padding may cause some discomfort for some, especially when you're wearing them without socks. Nonetheless, the shoe's design and materials are intended to age gracefully and develop a beautiful patina over time. At 600 Australian dollars, it's definitely an investment, but for those who value craftsmanship, quality, and style, the Harlestone hand-stitched derby is a unique and worthwhile addition to your shoe collection. But you just gonna have to wait until they break in properly, like I have. Anyway, thanks very much for watching. Links are in the description as always, and look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.